I am Jasmyne Epps, and I've been on this team for a really long time. First serving as a QA analyst, and then product manager, and now director for GovHub. And working here and being a part of this team has always been a huge source of pride for me. Working on GovHub, knowing that we're actually like affecting the lives of constituents and the lives of my neighbors, building these websites and then getting to interact with all of you all who are very passionate about making sure the content is digestible for our visitors and that they can find what they're looking for. So, GovHub, as long as I've been on this team, has been like an industry standard. Like when we go to conferences and we talk to other states, they're asking us like what we're doing and how do we do it and how do we get awesome content editors like y'all to buy into all of the things that we want to do, and it's always been awesome. So I am very honored to serve in this capacity, and I'm excited and encouraged to keep GovHub that industry standard moving forward. So today, let's talk about how GovHub is doing, what we've been up to in the last year, what we're planning for the future. Is that like a little mouse? I'm gonna move that. There we go. What we have planned for the future, a really high level look at the GovHub roadmap, and like Nikhil mentioned, how you can get involved in the conversation of planning the next iteration of GovHub. So, what's GovHub been up to? We've launched 5 new sites in the last year. First is the Pathways website. That is a place where you can find affordable healthcare coverage if you meet the Pathways program requirements and you're not eligible otherwise for Medicaid. DCA, their website was launched. That is the Department of Community Affairs, and it provides resources and programs related to community development, housing, and economic development. The energy rebates site was launched. That's really cool. The site is designed to help Georgia residents and businesses across the state access rebates and incentives for launching energy efficient programs. We launched our AI website. Of course, that is our team's other initiative that explains all of the AI cool things we have going on, building the AI lab, and all of the operations that we have that are AI driven and fostering innovation in the state. And then we also launched the Sexual Offender Registry Risk Board Review Board, Sexual Offender Risk Review Board website, which assesses the reoffense rate of offenders and whether or not they will be a risk to the community. So all of these websites I wanted to highlight because they are awesome tools for the constituents of Georgia, and we're proud to have them on the platform. So here's a few stats as well for GovHub. We currently have about 600 content editors registered. That's a lot. Now, I don't think all 600 of those folks log in all the time, but we have a lot of registered content editors that we're responsible for. We've had about 45 million site visits in the last year. With about 184 million page views. Now, this last stat, the engaged sessions, is one that I thought was really cool when I asked our lead developer Jenna for some stats for GovHub. The 49 million engaged sessions. So the engaged sessions are ones that have at least 10 seconds in the session, has a conversion event or 2 or more pages that are viewed in that session. And one interesting thing about that is that 75% of those engaged sessions started through organic search. And I know this may not come as a surprise to some of you. We always say how the user journey typically starts at Google. People look for what they're looking for the state and they land on your website. But if we didn't structure the content well, it wouldn't look as nice and neat, for example, as this ADA example here. And easily gets folks to what they could possibly be looking for. And that is all powered by the structured content functionality of Drupal. And so, we're happy that we're able to take this guesswork out of the hands of the content editor. So all they have to do is put the data in and know that it is presented well in Google. Another stat I wanted to highlight is our security. So, with all of that traffic comes sometimes some nefarious actors. And so, we have to make sure that we're securing GovHub, and we do that with our firewall. And this is a screenshot of a set or of some stats for a period of time. And as you can see, there was a spike. Now, can y'all see what day that was in April where there was a spike? Around the 14th and the 15th of April. Yeah, tax day. So we had a lot of folks filing their taxes at the last minute, like me. And the DOR is that blue line that you see there that had that spike. And I just wanted to highlight that because that was over 11 million requests in a day that we were able to handle and make sure that people are still able to access your sites and they're not taken down. Another thing is, you may remember from last May, we talked about a feature that was coming soon, and that was the enhancement to the content scheduling interface. So we've had this functionality for a while, but we made some changes to the interface to make it more easy to understand when you're scheduling your content, what state it'll be in, and when. So just gave more information right there in the event of scheduling your content so you can make a better decision about that content. So that is out there in the wild now. So we hope that this and the next feature that I'm talking about would help with your workflows. One thing that we noticed, and I'll talk about more later, is that you all really care about making sure the processes within your organizations are well-oiled machines to get the content out. And so we're hoping that adding more information on the interface to schedule your content will help with that. And also with your information architecture. So when you have your awesome gap consultation with our team and they give you some tips about how to rearrange your information architecture, you can do that within the node edit form of the content itself now. It's an easier navigation or an easier way to add that content to the navigation. You can search for a parent or you can look through your navigation for a parent in the drop down menu there. So just another enhancement that we rolled out that you may not have even noticed or been aware of. We didn't make a big announcement about it, but this is there as well. If you go look at your node edit forms, right there in that right sidebar, you'll see that main menu navigation there. Okay, so what have we learned? And like I mentioned, we've done some user research recently. Some of you may have participated in it, just trying to get an idea of how we can help you and what features will be useful for you. But during those interview sessions and during that user research where we were asking other questions, we learned other things. And we observed that editors, like I mentioned, really care about their content. We've observed agencies creating content scheduling and moderation processes so that they have some sort of process within the organization to make sure that the subject matter experts review the content and it's published in a timely manner. And we think that is amazing. It really shows us that you care about your content. And we see the support tickets, of course, that come in asking for assistance with improving your gap scores. And so Amanda, who comes on after me, her presentation will definitely help you with that effort. And we all know that you really want help with your PDFs. We know. And we're working on that as well. Like Nikhil mentioned, we're working with really awesome organizations to come up with tools to help you in all aspects of your content, including PDFs. And we also learned that the constituents have expectations. We are seeing a more tech savvy constituency, ones that are looking for chatbots and really want the least amount of friction to get to what they're looking for. And so we are looking at ways that we can make those interactions on GovHub just as familiar as their interactions in other places on the internet where they're getting injected with the AI and the chatbots and the cool tools. And so as we've taken these things that we've learned, and even from further from the last year, we have started reflecting on the future of GovHub. and what the capabilities and the tools will look like for our content editors or our agency partners, and what experience do we want our constituents to have moving forward. So starting down the road of reimagining GovHub, we begin asking questions. This is just a diagram, you've probably seen a million versions of it, of a product lifecycle where you place your features against this product lifecycle and you see where you are and you start to determine which features and processes maybe should go through a renewal, maybe a new way of doing things. Or maybe you want to look at ones to mature after a bit of feedback and usability testing. You have this process or this feature, you just want to grow it a little bit, mature it. Or you may find that you want to completely burn something to the ground and give it new life, or give life to something totally new and different. So, like I said, we started working through this process of looking at all of the features and the way we are doing things on GovHub, and ask the questions: is GovHub still meeting the needs of the agencies and the constituents? Is GovHub flexible enough to address the various use cases that we see developing within and across the agencies? And are our processes still working to ensure our customers have the best experience while using GovHub? So a few guiding factors too for this journey of discovery, if you will. We want to look at features maybe to sunset, ones that maybe y'all don't use, it not really useful to you, or based on some dated user testing or something like that we've done in the past. Features to do differently. So we're taking a look at all the things that we've learned and maybe do things a little better. Maybe things can be revised or refined to work leaner or provide more value for you all. And then we're obviously looking at completely new features, right? There's all kinds of new things out there, and we want to make sure that we are looking at those things and continuing to grow the product, and again, to remain that industry standard and something that you enjoy using. This is where you're going to have to interface with your constituency for the most part, is the first point of contact, and we want to make sure that you guys continue to enjoy using GovHub. All right, so a few more things that are in the backdrop of this planning are the DOJ mandate, like Nikhil mentioned. Now, the beauty of it is we made our websites accessible 10 years ago. So that's one thing that you don't have to worry about, is from a code standpoint. But we are ensuring that we are maturing our processes of auditing the code on a regular basis and making sure that we remain compliant. But yes, but this is totally something that's in the backdrop that we're keeping in mind as we plan out the features of the next iteration of GovHub. Of course, AI, Nikhil took on a new title recently, the Chief AI Officer of the state. And so, yeah, there's a lot of talk about AI, but we don't want to just inject GovHub with AI for the sake of having AI. It has to make sense. It has to provide value to you all. And most importantly, has to make sure that the data and the information that you're receiving through the site and inputting in for the content remains secure, and maybe not, training a bunch of different AI models. So, we're still looking at ways to put those tools in and keep the human in the process. And lastly, Drupal is what GovHub is built on, but it is very custom. It is not Drupal out of the box. But Drupal is constantly innovating and creating new modules and new features. And we want to make sure that we are involved in the community as much as possible, because our influence helps keep that ecosystem strong. So Nikhil is on the board for the Drupal Association. So we have a very close relationship with the community, and we have a voice in that space. And so I just want to make sure that our influence ensures, that there are impactful solutions being created that are contributed back to the community. And that does nothing but strengthen the security specialists, the developers, the content specialists, and the accessibility advocates in the community. So our team is exploring all the ways that we can provide value with the latest and greatest features of Drupal. And these are just overarching desired outcomes of GovHub 2, right? We're calling it GovHub 2. We're shopping the name right now. It's still in the works, but I think GovHub 2 is what we're gonna go with. And keep it simple. It's just the new version of GovHub. But we are, like I said, we want to internally examine our processes, but for the most part, we want to make the content experience, the content creation experience easier. So integrating smarter content editing tools, empowering the user roles. We learn a lot about how you all use the user roles, and so we want to take what we learned and maybe give some user roles a little bit more sauce, if you will. Accessibility simplified. Again, this is going to be an ongoing auditing process. It's not a checklist you check off and never look at again. And so we want to make sure we're giving you all the tools you need to make sure you're staying within accessibility compliance with your content. And then, of course, fortifying our infrastructure. Right now, our WAF, our web application firewall, is amazing. It filters out all kinds of things. We discovered, and this can be a talk for another day, but we discovered someone doing something really weird that we didn't even know was possible by monitoring our web application firewall, basically scraping the content from one of our sites. So, just having that tool and monitoring it, religiously is what keeps our infrastructure safe. But we want to make sure that, with our deployment processes, when we have releases and things like that, when we're putting out new code, that process is refined and not getting stagnant, or we're not using old technologies. Okay, now I've talked a lot about change, and I know some of y'all are probably like, is this like the migration from 2018? Oh my God, no, it's not. Okay, so don't freak out. If this is what you're feeling inside, it's okay. It is not that. It is a collaborative effort. We want to meet with you all and get your feedback and your input. It's not going to be any work on your end, other than getting your PDFs accessible. So this is kind of the timeline or the process for the discovery for GovHub 2. We're meeting with our internal team, so the team that works closely on GovHub, the developers, the user experience researchers, and coming up with what we feel based on everything that we have gleaned from research and working with you all, how we want the features to go on the product development lifecycle. And then we take those things and meet with a broader internal team, folks from different aspects of our team, the content team, the outreach team, and get their perspectives on those features and what we should think about from a outreach perspective, from a content perspective, and from a usability perspective. And then we'll take what we refined to our development partners. And so they're going to tell us how much work and effort it will take to implement our vision. And then after we have all of that data and we can help you all make an informed decision, we want to talk to advisory committee. And that is a committee of our content editors. And so I'll talk about that and another way that you can also get involved if you don't have the commitment to be on the advisory committee. But this is a high level, the process for the GovHub 2 discovery. Notice nowhere in there you have to do any work other than talk to us. Okay, so now we're gonna look at high level GovHub roadmap. So again, this is not a migration. What we're gonna do for the next fiscal year is the discovery, and that's the process I just mentioned. We're up against a deadline for the end of life of Drupal 10. We're on Drupal version 10 right now, which is the latest version, and it's still security supported, but it will no longer be security supported in June of 2026. So all of this is working up against upgrading to Drupal 11, which again, you shouldn't even notice. It is just upgrading to the next version of Drupal. And Drupal 11 is out right now, but we are just going up against that end of life for version 10. Okay. And for the next 1 to 2 years, we're going to execute on that discovery. So once we wrap up the discovery and we know what features and things we want to do, things we want to change, we're going to start executing that. So we are locked in with our development partners for a while, and so we are excited to be able to work with them to get whatever visions we have. And I will talk about this more later, but I just think we're in a really exciting time in technology, in the tech space, in the history of our agency, to really do some really cool stuff. So I really want, when we do talk to you all, just to don't limit your imagination. And if we can do it, we can do it. If not, if we can't, but we want to hear what y'all think, the future should be. All the while, we're going to be maturing our accessibility audits. So that's maturing our processes and policies, things that we can help guide you all on, and just make sure we continue to meet compliance. And then for the next 3 to 4 years, we want to just expand the access to the latest and greatest Drupal tools to GovHub. So again, GovHub isn't Drupal out of the box, so we can't always just take modules and plug and play. Sometimes we have to do a little bit of customization, so that could take a while, and figuring out how to maintain that and what that timeline should look like can take some time. So that next 3 to 4 years would just be pulling in those features and giving the community time to mature those features too, because a lot of them are still in beta and not totally supported by the security team. So we have to wait for those cool tools to mature as well. And again, continuing our accessibility commitment, whatever comes down the line from the feds or the state, we'll be ready, and just continuing to refine those processes and supporting our agency partners. Okay, so this is the part where you guys can get involved. So the ways you can contribute, I mentioned before, advisory committee. So that is a quarterly meeting commitment. Now, in the beginning, because we're in this discovery phase, it may be a little bit more than that, maybe more monthly for a while, and then it'll go to quarterly. But these are in-depth discussions, hour and a half long meetings where we talk about those issues, those features that we've already identified and refined internally. So we bring them to you and get your perspective, and just that one last look from the folks who we would be turning this over to, give us a perspective that maybe we missed. And then you can also get involved by being a part of user research. So this is more ad hoc, and of course we schedule based on your availability. And this is a group of folks. The advisory committee would be a little limited in size, but this is the group you can always put your name in the hat to be called up to do some user research. And we can do it remotely. You don't have to leave your office or leave your house. And that is an awesome way for us to answer quick questions and help us inform decisions quickly. So these are the 2 ways that you can get involved with the planning of GovHub 2. All right, so key takeaways I want you to leave here with today. GovHub sets you up for success. So again, we were one of the first states to make all of our websites accessible. I believe we were the first. Maybe another state, maybe mandated it first, but we actually executed it first. So we were one of the first states to make all our websites accessible. So you're already ahead of the game, and we want to just continue that trend of making sure that you're set up for success no matter what comes down the line. And GovHub remains ready for the future. Again, our tools and our processes are pretty well oiled, but we want to. It's always worth examining. We can't, think that we're above, examining. So we want to make sure that we maintain our future-proof platform. And GovHub is built for you and with you. We want you to be involved in this process, and we want to hear from you. And GovHub isn't what it is without our content editors. So we'll definitely be reaching out, or you guys can reach out to us, I think, by doing this QR code. You can scan this QR code to ask me questions, but follow that link, and I think you may be familiar with that. That's to our help desk, and put in a ticket about anything you want to talk about. So that's it for me. Thank you.